Alright class, today we will learn how to rationalize a denominator. This is a part of Math B70 class. When they ask to rationalize the denominator, they are asking you to change the denominator, which will be square root, into something that's not a square root. In other words, an integer. This is done because square roots are irrational numbers. When they ask to rationalize, they mean get rid of the irrational numbers. This is done with a simple method. If you have the square root of b multiplied by the square root of b, you will get b. How can we prove this? Square root of 4 times square root of 4 is equals to to 4. This being said, we know that the square root of 4 is 2, so 2 times 2 is equal to 4. Now that we know this, which is pretty important, we know that we have to multiply this fraction by the denominator. So we need let's have an example here, 9 over the square root of 5. You'll have to rationalize. Well, we'll now know that we have to multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 5. We can quickly and mechanically say that the denominator here is going to be 5, because we already know that the square root of one number times the square root of the same number is going to give you that number without a square root. This can also be expressed as the square root of any number squared, but we won't get into that. But that's another way of representing this. Now, for this part, we have to know another equation, that a times the square root of b is equal to a square root of b. You can't multiply this number by this number. Don't make the mistake, this is incorrect. Do not do this. Because this is incorrect. And I've seen a lot of students do this mistake, so keep in mind that this is incorrect. But now that we know this, and this, we can just simply plug this in and put this. So, when we get our question, we automatically multiply both the top and the bottom by the denominator, which is this number here, because this is a numerator. We mechanically just write down the 3, because we know the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is equal to 3. And here, we just mechanically write 7 over the square root of 3, times the square root of 3, excuse me. Now, what you want to try and do is simplify. This example, you can't simplify, so this is your final answer. But what happens if your question was, for example, 8 over the square root of 4? Mechanically, 4, and this is 8 square root of 4. And we can simplify by dividing 4 over 8. And why are we just dividing the 4 and the 8 and not the 4 into the square root of 4? Because we have 8 lots of this, because this is multiplying this. So instead of having 8 lots, we're just going to have 2 lots. So the answer would be 2 square root of 4. and that would be your answer. So to sum it up, the first thing to do is multiply the denominators. Second thing is multiply the numerators. Third thing is try to simplify if possible. And some important equations to remember are that square root of a number times square root of that same number is going to be equal to the number without square roots. And another important thing to remember is that a times the square root of b is equal to a square root of b. So with that, we sum up this class on how to rationalize a denominator. This is Gal, and if you have any questions, leave a message or look for me on Monday.